Right, well, let's move on and talk a bit about Civil War Two's recent. What would you classify this as? It's a one shot, I suppose, tying up the big reveal of Hulk being assassinated by Hawkeye. Um, Now, the week before, we got an issue called The Accused, which was all about sort of the trial of Hawkeye, which seemed to have taken place over a couple of months.
Hmm.
Um, so timeline wise, it's a bit strange because there was a month of trial prep mentioned, and then a month pretty much of actual trial. Um, but by the conclusion of that, Hawkeye was acquitted of murder after preemptively killing Bruce Banner when he believed he was about to transform into the Hulk, which I think happened in sort of Civil War issue 4, was it? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the other side of that, which is how the Hulk family reacts to Bruce's death. Now, I haven't been reading Greg Pak's Hulk. If you go back to the beginning, and then I read Planet Hulk, but kind of and World War Hulk, but not a lot since then. And a lot's happening. There's a big kind of family of Hulks uh, running around. I don't know what your familiarity is with these books, Alex. I know you like to read a
Um,
lot at the minute.
I'm familiar with Amadeus Cho.
Yeah.
I really like him as a character.
Mm,
I'm not sure if that's going to stay, given what's happening in this book.
right.
Um, because I mean, without jumping too far ahead, it looks like he's been affected a lot more than the others have in this situation. And yeah, the way he ends, having the 3 minutes set out and then just goes, no, whatever,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to fit with his character. But it that sort of experience makes you do crazy things anyway. So that
Mm,
we could be looking at a quite a big change for his character of Amadeus because his big thing is that he can control it. He's got full control
yeah.
over the Hulk,
Yeah.
and it's really easy for him
Oh right.
to do so. He's got into he got into a couple of issues. In fact, I think it was the last issue. He got into a dispute with Captain Marvel and basically said, "I've got this under control." And she was obviously surrounding him with a million Shield agents and whatever else from Alpha Flight, pointing their weapons. He's like, "No, I've got this chilled out." And then later on, it appears that he's gone on a rampage, and all he's doing is just if you zoom out on the satellite imagery of where he's been carving a message into the ground as the Hulk for her, just saying "Major luck." And he's quite a fun character. He's very much of a bro sort of character. He's
Right.
he's an absolute genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
He managed to remove the Hulk from Banner allegedly
Right.
and put him to himself. So he really knows his stuff, but he's also a bit of a dude, and he's quite fun to read. So to see the ending of the Fallen, where he's completely not completely changed, but leaving it very open ended on what he's about to do.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting for the future of Cho.
Yeah. It's based on what you're saying. I think that makes him more interesting in a way because he's able to control the rage of
Mm.
that triggers Hulk and stay completely in control of him in that form. But something has pushed his buttons, and the loss of someone close to him. And at the end of the day, he's a young lad, and it's a difficult thing to deal with. And
Yeah,
the more grown up kind of characters in this book deal with it in a very adult way. Um, but he's just not. I wonder if it speaks more
yeah.
to his age and inexperience than his emotional
See,
state.
it doesn't. I'd like to say yes, but I mean the issue has come up recently with him where he's not been able to Hulk out enough.
Oh right,
He's been holding back subconsciously, and he's been getting into fights and he's been coming away having lost because he couldn't do what needed to be done.
right,
So it's obviously it's going to be a big switch for the character to get
yeah,
angry, but then you don't know whether he's just decided, forget it, I am the Hulk. You can't stop me. Whatever I want to do, whether it's me as the Hulk or me as Cho,
mm,
you can't stop me. So I'm just going to do what I want to do. And whether it is a rage change that's happened at the end of this, or just a casual, I'm going to Hulk out now for a bit.
yeah. I mean,
and go and
maybe
smash up some mountains.
maybe it's like it reminds me a lot of like an origin story. I mean, this
Mm.
is a character who's 8 issues in,
Hmm.
but the death of the mentor is often like the inciting incident that creates this
Yeah.
hero. And in when Miles Morales became Spider-Man, it was after the death of Peter Parker. He'd had the powers for a while, but he was sort of reluctant to use them. And then Peter Parker dies, and he kind of learns that Uncle Ben lesson through him,
Hmm.
and it makes him take on the mantle properly. And I wonder if this incident gives Amadeus the rage, the anger that kind of grows him up a bit enough where he can then fully Hulk and
Yeah.
use the full scope of his powers. The next issue seems to be Amadeus confronting Captain Marvel, etc.
Hmm.
Whether it's for a brawl or whatever, he's pissed off. He's going to take it out on somebody, and will probably get. It's going to have an effect on the book overall. It's such a massive incident.
Yeah.
So it will be really interesting to see where it goes. I'm quite tempted to catch up on the Amadeus stuff and just
It's
see
worth
where it
it.
goes
I
from
mean,
here.
I think I didn't feel like it was too slow to get into either. It started and you were straight into it.
Yeah.
It's a good. It's a good. It's a good run.
I mean,
Um.
I fell out with Hulk when it became like Red Hulk and Jeff
Yeah.
Loeb came on and everyone had big machine guns and it became really absurd. But Greg Pak's always been sort of well revered as a Hulk writer and kind of known to be like the modern sort of Hulk, like the main man behind what's happened to Hulk in the last sort of 10 years. So it's in good hands, and I like Amadeus, so
Yeah.
certainly interested, especially after
It's
what you said.
nice. It's nice to see Civil War, actually, or Civil War Two, actually having some consequences now as well.
Yeah,
It took too long to get going, and now
definitely.
it's there. It feels like something real is brewing.
Hmm.
I mean, the fact that you've now got two main characters dead
Yeah,
as a result of Civil War, it's now starting to feel like right. It's going. It's getting some steam up. We'll just hope it's not too late to really hit us. But Marvel promise they've promised the internet breaking issues, haven't they, coming up? So
yeah. I mean, the next one I understand is the big brawl issue that Marquez they had to delay it because Marquez had a kid like partway through drawing it, but he's
mhm.
getting back on schedule now. And from what Bendis said, it's the hardest issue for him to draw because it's going to have a fuckload of people in it and they're all fighting, and he's got to make it look good. So the next issue should be pretty interesting, but they've also extended the series. I think they've gone from 7 to 8 issues
Yeah.
because Bendis thought of a better ending, which is encouraging. Because sometimes these endings fall really flat, and if he's actually thought, you know what, I've got a better way to do this from the original plan, that I'm going to try and take as a strong sign that we might end on a high note because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't quite satisfied with what they were doing and thought, I know a way to kick this up a notch and I just need more pages, then I think that I'm going to take that as a good sign that it could go big at the end.
Yeah.
These character deaths, the impact of them in comics, it can be very little because of how easily people get brought back to life. But it all really depends on the impact it has on the surrounding characters. And Hulk's been largely off the board. You know, he's not been interacting with many people lately. So if we're going to see this fallout and we're going to feel the impact of this sort of plot point, then the Hulk stuff is where we're going to see it specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll let's pick that up, and we'll probably if we record after the next issue, we'll review issue 9 because it could be quite interesting to see where it goes.
Mm.